Hey, everybody, welcome back to the channel. It is February 28th, Tuesday, and as I promised you, we have a major announcement here on the Nation Network. And here it is.
Welcome to Ultra Pro Wrestling.
There you have it. Ultra Pro Wrestling. It is now official that we can share this information with you and let you know that Ultra Pro Wrestling is not only in the works, but it's coming along very well, very quickly. You might remember him from our last visit here on the Nation Network. We're going to bring in the creator of Ultra Pro Wrestling. This is the man they call Sam.
How's it going?
So good to have you back, buddy. So
yeah, awesome.
We've got a time
appreciate
difference.
you having me back on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, I think there might be a delay.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say we have a little bit of a time difference being in England and America, so sometimes that can create lags. We'll get through that. We had no problem last time. So tell me, man, it's been a few months since we talked, and that progress from the last time you were here, and guys, just go back and see it for yourselves. I mean, it was so early on, and he was just barely putting like logos on tights and stuff like that to what we just saw, which was amazing. Who directed that video?
But I pieced it together. I'll be completely honest. I kind of cheated a little bit because I've been trying to make this trailer for a long time, and it's very hard to storyboard it when you're putting together like I want this character doing this move, and then you're trying to also in the storyboard sort of describe where the camera's going to move because you don't want two camera shots next to each other. So what I ended up doing was to kind of try and help storyboard is I just went and downloaded all of the original intros to Virtual Pro Wrestling, No Mercy, Revenge, and I just clipped every single shot and I pieced together what is the Ultra Pro Wrestling trailer based off of just different shots that I liked and like angles that I thought that was cool. And when it came to actually putting it in the game, there's a lot of angles that I then sort of adjusted and changed bits here and there. But yeah, those original intros were very useful to help me storyboard it and kind of as a blueprint to do it, because otherwise it was just so difficult trying to piece together like on paper, writing down, well, I want this guy doing this move and the camera angle is going to do this, and you just can't visualize it that way. So yeah, I kind of cheated. Just went in and got all those.
It came out really well. That's why I was wondering. I was like, I wonder if he hired someone to do that or if that was him doing it himself, because the cuts and the way they were going, and you had an animation rotation in the middle of, I guess, a finisher move or something like that. Is that going to be in the game, by the way? I was wondering that question. Like there was, I think, a sit-out powerbomb where the camera rotates all the way around.
Yeah, I mean, it was more just that was a shot that's in Virtual Pro Wrestling 2, the kind of bullet time thing. And so I initially wasn't going to use any of those bullet times because they're not in the game. But then I thought, no, you kind of have to leave that in because it's such a good nod to those original games as well. There'll be a lot of people that as soon as they see that, they'll get it right away. They'll go, that's the Virtual Pro Wrestling 2, because it even zooms out with an angle the same way.
Yep.
So yeah.
No, that definitely grabbed my attention right away. It's like, that's a really cool effect. And I remember some of those old, like, Here Come the Pains and things like that. They would have that delay, like go into the finisher, and then all of a sudden it would freeze for a second, rotate, or whatever the camera was going to do, and then bam, there's the hit. So I wasn't sure if that was actually going to be the way the finishers worked or not. So,
well, you know what? I might actually include it as a feature in the game, because one thing in the game that I don't think I've really spoke about this. It's not written down anywhere in the Kickstarter anyway. But one of the features that I want to have in the game is the ability to make your own entrance video, and so you're going to be able to do that using footage from. You remember at the end of like No Mercy, it would show you the kind of instant replay.
Mm-hmm.
So it then cuts to like a different camera angle, shows you like your finishing move, whatever you ended the match on. So it'd be kind of like that, but you'd be able to capture it and use that in your music video. So maybe having that bullet time effect could be one of the options when you're creating your own video. That'd be kind of cool. But in terms of actually in the match, there's no plans for it to be a feature in the match.
Okay, that's cool. I was just wondering.
Yeah.
Let's break this down, because the more I watched it, the more stuff I picked up, and the detail in this thing. You're talking about the Easter eggs there with that. There's plenty of Easter eggs here. Felt like it was Easter. So we're going to start out right here.
Oh, well, actually, first of all, a big thank you to you, because you're actually in the trailer.
I am. I didn't realize that. Yes, Nation. That was the surprise. I'm going to be doing some voiceover work for the game. So we got a Howard Finkel introduction going on here, and I don't know what else he's going to need me for, but whatever Sam needs, I'm going to provide for him, because I love the idea of being in a video game, because I know I'm never going to be in a real wrestling ring. And it's just fun to be part of something like this. So we talk about Easter eggs. I watched this like 3 times before I noticed this little blue object over here.
Yeah. That's I kind of just snuck that in there at the end.
Brilliant.
There's no ropes or anything, but yeah.
Yeah, I know. That's what made it work.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the old wrestling ring from the LJN line. It was unbelievable. Seeing that thing, I was like totally marking out. Oh my God, he put the wrestling ring on the table. And then what is that supposed to be? An N64 type of console?
Yeah, so I modeled that kind of roughly on the N64, but obviously I had to change a few bits here and there. So you'll notice when the light turns on, it's not the kind of oval light, it's just a more rounded kind of light. And the cartridge is obviously very N64-esque.
Yep. And that's the one system I never had. That's why I wasn't positive, but based on the fact that I didn't have it, I figured I had to be the one.
Yeah.
This video here, are these actual people that you know? I mean, this isn't you from being a kid, is it?
It is.
Is that really you? I was wondering.
Yeah, if you're able to go back like a frame or 2 frames, there's one shot of right there, that's me.
That or the one forward?
The one that you had there, the one that kind of looks at the camera, and
right
then not that one. That's that's in the white top. That's my friend Gerald, and then that's me that kind of faces the camera there.
So you're in the lower. Right
yeah.
Okay. There's a young Sam.
That's it. That was me when I must have been about 10 or something.
All right. Then we see the light pop on the not N64 console.
I'll actually give you a little bit more of a little background into that video there.
Yeah.
So if you zoom out, or sorry, if you scrub back a little bit. So this bedroom that we're in here. This bedroom is a 3D model of my brother's bedroom from when we were kids. And
so the actual, okay, let's go back.
So everything happening in that video actually happens in that room.
Now, did he really have that wallpaper?
Yeah. I don't know how well you'd be able to make out on the video, because the video is all staticky and distorted, but
it looked like stars on
Yeah, so you see
the
the
Star
stars in
Killer
the
shit.
wallpaper. I don't know how well you'd see on the little video because I kind of had to.
Yeah, you grained it out a bit for.
Yeah, but yeah, yeah. There's a little bit of a backstory behind all that. Basically, this whole intro sequence,
Yeah.
I put this together like 2 days before the trailer was finished. The trailer was finished. The trailer was done. But the intro I had where it just came up with the logos, the sort of THQ, Asmik, AKI, those logos, they would just come up and fill the screen. And so I had this idea about, it might be better actually if it's on an old CRT
Mm-hmm.
TV and have the N64 next to it. And as I said, this was 2 days before the trailer was going to be sent off to certain people. And I thought, no, I don't have enough time because I need to create a scene and all that. And then I remembered I actually have, because a few years ago, I recreated my childhood house in 3D. My house was actually destroyed years ago, but I had all the blueprints and pictures and stuff like that. So I recreated a 3D model of my childhood house in that room where we used to wrestle with my brother and friends and stuff like that. I thought I'll just use that. I'll use that scene because the TV's already there. The Hasbro ring I'd already modeled and put in there as well. So yeah, just grabbed the Hasbro ring, put it over, made an N64, put that on top, and yeah, just pieced it all together. So there's a little bit of history with that little intro there. It's
That's
not just
cool as heck, though. The
random
fact that you
kid.
have a model of your old home growing up, I wouldn't mind having something like that. My dad still lives in that home, but it's in
Yeah.
New York, and I don't get to see it very often anymore.
I did it purely so that I could play around in VR and just walk around in my old house, and it works.
Nice. I
Very
love that
weird.
idea. Now I want that. Of course, my sister was just here to visit, and we find out that the house still looks like it did 20 years ago, which is completely unfinished. That's my dad. All right, we get this opening cut of a guy with a blue beard and a title. Will there be titles to be had and competed for?
Yeah, so that title there is the online title that I'm hoping becomes quite popular. So basically, that's the title that there is only going to be one of those titles.
Mhm.
It's online, so the only way that you can win it is to beat the guy who has it. So that's the kind of, I guess that's sort of the main title of the game, because even though it's only an online title, the game, the titles that are in the game, in the base game, they're all kind of editable. Like, so people will take the promotions that are in the game and probably customize them and change the look of the belts. So in
Gotcha.
terms of the base game, there's not really one specific title that you would highlight, because they can all be customized and all be the names of them changed and things like that. So, but the one title that's consistent is that title there. That title you're not really going to be able to change. I've got an idea about if you win it online, if you're able to win it, then you unlock a sort of replica title that you'll be able to
Nice.
use in the game and stuff like that. But
That's
it'll
cool.
come up that it's a replica, unless of course you're currently holding the real one, in which case it'll say it's the real one. So yeah, but big plans for that.
That is cool to know, though. That's a nice interaction to get people not only to play online, but then there's something to achieve that you can only get through online. I
Yeah,
think that's one of the biggest problems right now with the 2K product is a lot of people aren't messing with the My Faction thing. It's just a waste of time. And you unlock characters that you can only use in My Faction. You can't even bring them into the main game. If you could, I think even I would be playing it then.
yeah.
And I
See,
don't like it.
yeah, I'm unfortunately I'm not too familiar with the recent games, because I've not played a modern WWE game in a couple of years now, a few years, maybe 4 years, and it's pretty much because all my time is spent developing this that I just don't have the time.
That's all right. You're working on something that's going to be better. So it's a much better use of your time than the rest of us. I love the post that you had the other day, and I didn't even think about this when you asked, do you spend more time watching wrestling or playing wrestling video games? And it was so overwhelming, which I didn't even think of that. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I fast forward through so much of today's wrestling. If I've stopped recording most of it and I don't even bother, because
Yeah.
I'll just catch clips on YouTube, and if anything good happened, it's up there, and generally nothing good's happening. So why waste my time watching it?
Yeah, I mean, again, because I've been working a lot as well, but I actually haven't watched. I haven't really kept up with like Raw or SmackDown or anything like that. The only thing that I really keep up with is, I mean, of course, I'll always watch WrestleMania.
Right.
I'll always watch the Royal Rumble. But all the other pay-per-views, I don't even watch them. Like there
Yeah,
has to
and
be
there's
a big
nothing to
match
miss.
kind of for me to, yeah. Well,
There's
and
really
like you say,
nothing
like
happening.
if anything does happen, and I've got the WWE Network, so if anything does happen,
Yeah.
you'll see it on social media, and I'll go back and watch it. But yeah,
Far and few between, unfortunately.
no, I was surprised as well with the results of the poll, like the amount of people that said they play video games more than they watch it. I was
All right, so
surprised by that.
this guy looks a little familiar. He has a Shawn Michaels thing kind of going on.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, it's been pointed out to me as well. So his tights, that character is Chad Maverick, and
Right.
his tights, it's actually just a cow print. And it wasn't until, because I don't know, I just thought I might look kind of funny and like a cow print, I might kind of stand out and be different. And it wasn't until he was kind of finished that I was like, that's very, very close Shawn Michaels.
Maybe subliminally, just like this guy looks a little bit like Rey Mysterio, even though he's from America.
Yeah.
Well, no, I take it back. He is a luchador who moved to America.
Yeah.
This I thought was brilliant. I loved this. The Lucha Libre Loco instead of AAA, Triple L, the turnbuckles making the L's. I was like, Mike, and you came up with all this?
That was me and one of the other developers, Frank.
This is brilliant.
Yeah. Well, the name actually initially came from Twitter. I put a post saying any ideas for a Mexican wrestling promotion. And someone, can't remember the name just now, but I retweeted him. He suggested Local Lucha Libre.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my friends actually said to me that actually it should actually be Lucha Libre Local. And I don't know if that's right, but I trusted him, so I was like, okay, we'll go with that. So reorganized it to Lucha Libre Local, and yeah, one of them said, actually take the turnbuckles and create an L out of it. Yeah. And when he first said it, I was like, I didn't know what he was talking about, and he had to like draw it down on a bit of paper. I wonder if I've actually got that here.
Yeah. I wouldn't have thought of that either. I mean, it's freaking brilliant.
Oh yeah, there we go. There's this.
I feel like this should be a real company operating.
Yeah, so he started. He drew this for me.
See how it begins?
He drew that, and I was still kind of like, I don't get it. I don't understand. But then,
not seeing your vision, man.
We started playing around with the camera, and it was like, oh yeah, I get you. Yeah.
That thing I just thought was freaking brilliant. Couldn't believe that there wasn't somebody actually running an organization in Mexico called Lucha Libre Loco. And that I also missed the first 2 to 3 or 4 times I watched the trailer. It slipped past me that you've got rings that have 4 sides, 6 sides. You have an octagon, all in one game. Is any other game? I can't think of another game that's done that.
I don't know.
Fire Pro maybe, but even then, it's kind of hokey.
Yeah, even it's funny actually the amount of work that goes into even just changing from. We have the base ring, which is kind of like the WWE ring,
right?
Which is, I guess, it's like a 20-foot ring. But then we also have an indie show, which actually the ring is smaller. It's representative of like an 18-foot ring. So it's not smaller by much, but like I don't even know how well people would even notice it. But it is actually smaller in the independence organization.
And that's why we have these little interviews. So now we know. If you want a smaller ring, go with your indie show. And we haven't even touched on the animation or anything yet and how good this is looking. And it's still early on. I mean, the difference between this and the last time you were on and how much. All right, there's our octagon, which we call the Glory. This I loved, House of Honor. I thought that was great. That'll be one of the ones. My original thought is, okay, I'm going to get this game and I'm going to put all the names that we know. I'm going to build them up, and the more I'm watching this stuff with the no-name characters that are just self-developed, I think that's all I'm going to do is I'm going to just build a bunch of fictitious characters and just run crazy with it, because that seems more fun now than what I've been doing. Steel cage looks really tight, man. I like the old-fashioned chain link. And I like the fact, and this is a pet peeve of mine. I just did a Elimination Chamber stream where I played the game, and on the hard camera side, it's like there's no chain link and nothing there. It's just completely transparent. So when you were trying to run a guy's head into it on the hard camera side, he's hitting air.
Oh, right. Yeah,
And I get why they do that, but man, if you watch the matches from the 80s and the 70s, even, especially in the NWA days, that was part of what made that match feel good, is the fact that it was a little hard to see the characters when the hard camera was there, and the mesh and the chain is all around in the front and the foreground and the background. But that's what made it a cage match, was that you didn't. Then they started cutting holes in them and getting the big blue cage so that the camera lens wouldn't be distracted. And all. It's like, no, that you're missing the point. That jailhouse feel is what we were looking for, and that it's supposed to be a blow off match, and you wanted that, and you have that here. You can still see the chain link in the foreground. So thank you.
Yeah, I should actually give a shout out. There's a guy on Twitter called Core Dream Studios. He is just someone who contacted me early on and was like, hey, I'd like to help out in any way I can. And he actually modeled that steel cage for me. So shout outs to him.
Excellent. Indeed. Well done. Got the chairs being used. The animations are really looking good.
That's where most of the time the past,
yeah, I'm sure
the past couple of months has just been spent doing the animations.
So there was one of those rotation moments with the camera I was talking about earlier on. So how do you achieve that, though? Is that just like, can you do video highlights where you can rotate the camera, or you just, because you're the developer, you had access to do that?
Yeah, just being the developer, I was able to go in and just attach an animation to the camera. But yeah, it is something I'm thinking about. Would actually be kind of cool if you're able to do that in game.
Yeah, on big spots. I think
it's a weird one, because you wouldn't want to be able to pause the match and start messing around, because then if you're playing against someone, especially online, could you imagine that?
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe I'm thinking like at the end of the match, like in the same way that the AKI games had the replay, we would have maybe some sort of highlight reel where it'll show you kind of big moments from the match. And maybe then, because the match is over, and if you are online against an online opponent, they can be somewhere else, and you can still go in and capture a clip and maybe edit it, maybe set a rotation on it, which then once you've saved the clip, you'll be able to include that in an entrance video.
Yeah, that would be great. But it just looks so good. And then, of course, we have the Kickstarter, which is now official. We're going to have the link for that in the description box down below, guys, so you won't have to look hard. It'll be right there. Click on it. You've already done pretty well, though. I mean, without even doing a Kickstarter, let folks know, man, you've got your rent paid for a little bit.
Oh, yeah, and that's, in large part due to M. Dickey. That was on Christmas Day or maybe Christmas Eve. He just sent $100 or whatever it was and was like, let's get Ultra Pro Wrestling's rent covered for the next year. And I'm just like, what? Really? Massive shout out to M. Dickey.
Yeah, that has to help when you can have something like that. It just takes that much weight off of you financially, stress, and how much that alone is the reason why you're this far along from the last time we talked.
Yeah, well, I mean, before I had the office, I was only able to work from home, which again, you've got kids running around. I wasn't able to have anyone come in and help me because obviously I'm at home. There's limited space. We can't just hang out in my bedroom. and so having the office was really important to be able to have. Now I've got a team. There's like 4 of us. And we're kind of taking a little break just now because of the launch of the trailer. And I'm actually going away to New Zealand tomorrow. So yeah, we're having a little bit of a break to see, how the Kickstarter does and all the rest of it. But just being able to have this office space. I'll try and kind of show you. It's not a huge office, but we've got enough room for a couple of computers, and it means that they get to come in and help out and work as much as they can. But to be honest, everyone, including me, there's no money right now. I've been working completely for free for the past,
I think you're going to be making money at the end of the day, though, when this thing is all said and done.
Well, hopefully, because the thing is, if the Kickstarter doesn't do well, like I'm still going to spend as much time as I can developing the game, but it means that I'm not going to be able to pay the people who are helping me just now, which means that they're not going to be able to continue helping me. And so, even though I'm now getting enough money for the office, I don't. If it's only me that's coming in, I don't know if there's going to be much use for it. But hopefully the Kickstarter will do well, and
I think you're in for a big surprise. I really do. I've done this. This is our 19th year. We were just talking about this last week of doing this silly stuff here on YouTube, and we were going over some old videos that I've done so many years ago. I'd forgotten about them and cringing half the time. But in doing that, it's like we as a community here love wrestling video games. That is the common denominator. We love wrestling, but we love wrestling video games in particular. And we tend to keep on talking about the ones from the past being good. You don't hear us talking very much. I don't think anyone's that excited about the AEW game. It'll be something different than we're used to. But, in watching the video they posted of the full match recently, okay, yeah, but will I be playing that like I do WWE 2K? Probably not. I'll still play it. I'll buy it. But I don't know that it'll have the same replay value. When I look at this with all the different promotions, like you said, customizable titles, that's what we're looking for. It's a sandbox game, something that lets you play it the way you want to. And this game checks all those boxes from everything I've seen so far, including this roster page. Now, this is a video of the roster page, but if we were actually doing it live on there, you could click on them and it would give you their backstories and their little histories. Right now, currently, there's 10 names up there. I'm presuming there are going to be more coming by the time this game is released.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we can have close to 100 characters, 100 completely unique characters. And there'll obviously be a bunch of save slots for creating your own characters as well. But for the main game, I'm hoping we can reach about 100.
There you go. There might even be a Vince McSham in there. You never know. It could happen.
Hey, yeah, at least as an announcer.
Yes. All right. Let's see what else this thing does here as we move up a little bit. Hold on. So yeah, once you click on the character name, it gives you this whole little background on them, and I just thought that was such great detail. It wasn't like you were just slapping costumes on characters and throwing them in the ring. They actually have a backstory, the unusual spelling of the name with the double R thing in there because they roll the R's, which I thought was another just nice little detail.
Well, he's actually as well a play of all the characters they weren't just created in the last few months. Most of these characters have actually been developed for 20, 30 years, because these are characters and gimmicks that me and my friends all used to use when we were backyarding, and so my friend had a mask, and he had this Mexican character. He's the one that kind of first comes out on the Lucha Libre local promotion, wearing the green and yellow, and that character is called Hurricana, and that's just a name that stuck from years ago that my friend used to have, and he dress up and everything like that. So to counter him, I was a big fan of America. I've never been to America, but obviously everything you grew up, everything that we consumed was all American TV, American media, and I just had a big love for America. And so when I was 14, I had an American flag in my bedroom, and I had an American T-shirt and all this stuff. So of course his gimmick was Hurricana, and so I thought, well, I'm going to counter that. I'm going to have a Mexican wrestler who's in love with America, and he's going to be called Americana, and that's why the spelling it kind of matches Hurricana's spelling of his name. So yeah, he's a character that's kind of tied to this other character in a way. But that idea for that character has been around for at least 20 years, which is kind of crazy.
And now he comes to life, and you can all play him once the game drops.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we had here. Big Ben Nevis. And again, you have the whole
Yeah,
background on Ben.
So Big Ben Nevis is actually, that's my brother. My brother's called Ben, and his wrestling
okay.
his wrestling name since he's only a couple of years older than me, but for some reason he just kind of growth spurt. He was so much taller than the rest of us. Like when we were all like 8 and he'd be 10, he was like a good 4 foot taller than us. So yeah, his wrestling name has always been Big Ben Nevis, which is obviously a mountain, and his tights you can see are actually the mountain as well there.
Yep, I picked that up too. And what's the significance of the blue beard?
Oh well, I wanted to base it off of him a little bit, and he never had a blue beard, but he used to dye his hair blue sometimes. He used to have like a ponytail, like almost like with the undercut with like the RVD, and he'd dye it blue. So I thought, well, I played around a little bit. I had him with blue hair initially, and yeah, I don't know, I wasn't feeling it, and so I don't know, I just made his beard blue, and I was like, that's original, that's unique, that kind of sticks out. So yeah, I thought, fuck it, I'll just go with the blue beard.
My first thought when I saw this thing on screen is like, it almost looks like Bobby Roode, and then I saw the blue beard part, and I was like, but I don't think that's supposed to be Bobby Roode. But now we know it's supposed to be your brother.
Yeah, I guess he's sort of a almost Big Show, Braun Strowman type of character.
Cool. All right, then we had, who was just up there? Dez.
Yeah, another character that me and one of my friends, when we were younger, we had this tag team that were like just really rough kids. Dez and Corey were our tag team name, and so I actually have a picture of me wearing those shorts and a t-shirt from years ago with the shaved head and the kick pads and everything. And so I was like, I'm just going to take that look and I'm going to assign it to this character, Dez. So again, that's another one that's a gimmick that's been around for a long time.
All right, let's check out what else we have up here. Johnny Cougar.
Yeah, so that was my best friend growing up, Johnny Cougar. We initially, so 2 names that we did have, like growing up as wrestlers, our sort of main characters, are names that we would never get away with using, because my name was Sam Michaels and his name was Gerald Jannetty. So we're obviously, we can't use them. So I think we kind of realized that when we were like 10, we were like, we can't just call ourselves Sam Michaels and Gerald Jannetty. So yeah, I came up with Chad Maverick, he came up with Johnny Cougar, and that was our kind of main gimmicks. So yeah, so I was Chad Maverick and he was Johnny Cougar.
See, now the funny thing about all that is when I first saw this character, I saw the single strand of hair. I didn't realize it was dreads at the moment, and I was thinking, okay, it's kind of like a Razor Ramon thing. Then I looked at him more and I said, oh no, it's Roman Reigns, man. He's got like the t-shirt thing going on, the all black. It's like a Roman Reigns. Now I find out it's not either of those.
Yeah, he does kind of look like Roman Reigns. Unfortunately, I wanted to do a lot more with him, like as well as because he asked me if I could make him have dreads and stuff, and they aren't too identifiable as dread because they've not properly been textured yet. But yeah, there was other little details like I was going to give him a bandana. I've got all his tattoos to put on him. And
that's a great question. You just got something I had on my list, and you just brought that up, was the tattoo. So that body art will be an option?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, I figured, but I just noticed that nothing in the trailer had it yet. So, again, guys, remember, this is very early in development, okay? This is by no means the final product. All right, let's see what else we had up here. Taki Kimota.
Yeah, so this character I can't really tell you anything about because this was completely developed by my brother, and my brother is like he's really big into Japanese wrestling, and so I figured, well, because I know a little bit about Japanese wrestling, but nowhere near as much as what my brother knows. So I just kind of tasked him with, I said, I need a Japanese character. Can you come up with a name, a backstory, and all the rest of it? So yeah, he came up with this character.
It's funny you're mentioning that, and when we were going back over the old videos from many, many years ago, I had developed a Chinese or Japanese character Hiro Shikita or something. I don't even remember now. And we just watched it a week or two ago. And I ran with that for like a year and a half. Totally had forgotten all about it until I went back and watched these videos. I was like, oh my God, I remember that. I did like promos for him coming in, like little vignettes, the whole nine.
Yeah.
And then I forgot all about him. Let's see what else. So then there is, of course, the Kickstarter information. And again, the link will be in the description box down below, and it goes live today, Tuesday the 28th. That's why I had to wait, because we didn't want you guys having all this information and then not be able to do anything with it. So now you can click that link and go straight to the Kickstarter, and bam, there you have it. And we're going to get this guy what he needs so that we can have this. In reality, your request, I'm trying to do the transition in my head, 17,000 pounds US is a little bit more, like $20,000, or am I way off?
Yeah, no, that sounds about right. It's weird because I think that all the currency values changed fairly recently. That I kind of got used to. I think it used to be. Now, if I'm thinking right, it used to be that £7 was the equivalent of $10, I think. But it's now much more close. It's maybe like £9 is the equivalent of 10.
It's evened up a bit. That's good for you guys.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the exchange rate is just now, but yeah, we just
that's a ballpark number though, and when we go there, I think it shows it to us in the US dollars. So either way, I really think you're gonna hit that mark and probably more than that. There's just a lot of people that are looking for something different. This is something different. There are people who love retro gaming, and I'm sure you know that already, that there are people that still have their old consoles, or they have emulators that let them play the games on their current PCs or what have you, because they like that style.
Yeah, I mean, I'm one of those people. Like, you know, I've got my living rooms all set up with a bunch of old consoles. I've got the Sega. Well, we call it the Sega Mega Drive. I think you call it the Genesis. I've got GameCube, NES, SNES, N64. I've just got like a mountain of all these old consoles. It's a shame though, because like it's really hard to get all the right converters.
Yes.
You know, if you're not playing them on a CRT TV, but yeah, no, I've got such a love for all those old games.
I still keep a CRTV in the house. It's in the garage, and it's only about 10-inch screen or something like that. But once in a while, I'll dust it off. I'll bring it in. I'll hook up the system to it. I do have it in the studio too. I've got like 4 different old setups here. But even then, like you said, I got to get it in. I got to rewire stuff so that I can stream it. It's a bit of a pain in the butt, and I just don't do it that often because of it.
And it's much harder as well to go back to like the NES where you can't save anything. You know, like especially like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That game is so hard, and you can't save. There's no save state. Like,
really, you got to play it, or that's it. You got to get through it. Tough it out, man. Rub some dirt on it. You'll be all right. Let me see. How many match types are you planning to have? Like we saw the steel cage, for example.
Yeah. So actually, I had a video that's I think still up on the YouTube that goes through all the different match types, and I mean, what I'd love to have is every single type of match that you can possibly think of, and it's hard to really do that in a menu system without having, because you don't want it to just be like a big endless list of every single possible match and scroll through it, and it's difficult to organize as well, because then you might take a while to scroll to a certain match, and then it's like, well, there's 4 people in this match, but I don't want to be this character. I want the computer to be that character, and I want to be this character. Like, there's just so many different combinations of setups that it's a little bit of a headache to plan. But if anyone wants to go on to our YouTube channel and watch that video, I try and do like a little breakdown and all my reasoning for the way in which I've organized it, and I'm quite proud of it. I think I've done quite a good job of basically having a user-friendly experience that lets you select just about any match you can think of. Now, that's like base matches. That's like, tag team combinations, triple threat, 3-way combinations. In terms of like special match types, like, like an Inferno match, or like a barbed wire match, or, something that's just completely out of the ordinary. That's a little bit harder to kind of slip into that menu system. But we, at the very least, just now we have planned steel cage match. There'll be a type of Hell in a Cell match. Is the thing about the steel cage as well is it's one thing to put a steel cage on your 16-foot ring or your 18-foot ring, but then it's like, well, you need a different cage for the 20-foot ring, and you actually need a different cage again for like the 6-sided ring. So the idea of a steel cage, it's not just as easy as, oh, okay, we'll do a steel cage then. It will take a lot of work, but my goal is to do it. My goal is to have a 6-sided steel cage match, 6-sided barbed wire rope match, all that stuff. So the only thing I haven't put too much thought into, which I know a lot of people are interested in, is the kind of death match with the explosions. So I think that probably will come eventually, but that's further down the line, I think.
Yeah, that definitely takes a different level of game developing, because now you've got things exploding, and
Yeah.
or you could just do an AEW version and really just have sparklers on the posts.
Yeah.
How hard could that be? And then
Yeah, we
nothing
could do
happens.
that. It's like
You should
like
do it as a goof.
yeah. Like if your promotion just doesn't have enough of a budget or something. Not saying that AEW doesn't, obviously, but yeah, if in the game your promotion has like a low budget and you can only afford like the smaller explosives, that's what it is. Just like little sparklers.
You call it like the WEA.
Like the Gilbert entrance.
That would be perfect. It would be such a. We talk about all these little nods to different things, like the blue wrestling ring and the N64 console. What better than sparklers at the end of a death match?
Yeah, I'm all for little Easter eggs like that.
Looking at the Kickstarter, okay, let's go this route. You get your goal met in 30 days. If you get all that, ballpark, how long do you think it takes to develop the remainder of this game? Best case scenario.
If we get the 17,000, I think I've estimated that we will have we'll have a playable demo that'll be a full one-on-one match. That will be around, I think I've outlined November of this year. I think that's right. Yeah, I think it's November of this year. Would we be able to release on Steam a full playable early access?
Wow.
If the Kickstarter covers that amount, then what the sort of plan would be is would put everything into making this demo, and the people who have signed up for the early access, they'll get that on Steam. But if you've not signed up for that, then we'll have to charge something for that, like maybe, I don't know, maybe $5 or something, just so that we at least get a little bit of money back for that, and that'll help us continue to get the rest of the game developed. If the Kickstarter does really well and we get more than that, then it basically means any more money we get from the Kickstarter means I'll be able to hire more people to come in here. The guy that's given me this office has said to me that, you know, if somehow it does well and we get more money, he has a bigger space for me that he's as well give me at a discount as well, which I would love to take him up on, but it's obviously dependent on if I'm going to have to require it. So if we get more money, I'll be able to hire more people. The opportunity is there to get a bigger office space, and it can all just kind of grow and take off. And get the thing is, the more people involved, the biggest challenge is the animations. So the more people involved, the quicker we can get these animations done, and the quicker we can get the game out. So November just now is our sort of estimated time. The thing is as well, that's the time that I put on it, because it won't take any longer than that, and I don't want to put on a release date or for anything that then I'd have to miss, so that people, you know, I don't want people being disappointed. So we've kind of put it back to November to give us enough time to make sure we get that. And then I think August of 2024 will be the full release with all the different match types, the story mode, the different creator wrestler elements, because that's another huge thing as well. We have a lot of like attire items, but there's still a lot more to create. And then there's different variations and different textures and things for you to play around with. So the creator wrestler needs a lot of attention. The career mode needs a lot of attention, and then refining all the match mechanics for, and referee mechanics as well. I'd love to get a referee in the ring, and that's it's AI mechanics, it's the animations, it's there's a lot that goes into that as well.
It's funny you mentioned the referee, and I didn't even realize till you just said it that you're right. There wasn't a referee in any of those matches, was there?
Yeah.
Didn't even catch that.
Yeah, so it's something that we'd love to have in the game, but yeah, it just breaks down to it's all just it's time and effort, and it all translates to money. So
I was just going to say, and money.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And that's where all of you guys come in. Look, we all know that we've been waiting for something good to come along. We've been disappointed time in and time out, and I'm pretty confident. I'm looking forward to 2K23 because, as I'm sure you heard, they're going to do war games, and I cannot imagine how many ways they're going to crash this game now with that. They couldn't get it done with one ring. We're going to give them two now. I said, this is going to be such a cluster. I can't wait. I'm watching. I know I'm going to go see a really bad movie.
I saw some of the images. There was a video of a guy doing a move in between the two rings.
Yep.
So it's interesting for me because I look at it from a programming technical point of view, and I'm like, oh, that's it. I wonder how this is actually play out. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yes, it will. But that's why we need guys like you who are true wrestling fans, not just business corporate guys that are going to put something out, slap a sticker on it, make money, and walk away from a broken product and give you another one a year later. This is a passionate project here. This is something that you've got a deep-seated love for, and it shows.
That is something that people sometimes ask me, like, well, what makes UPW different? And so I kind of try and go through the list of all the things in UPW that makes it different from other games, like the creation stuff. But actually, that's a good point. Was like a lot of these games, they're developed by game developers who might have an interest in wrestling games. They might just be a game developer. Whereas I'm someone who legitimately, like, I wanted to be a wrestler my whole life. Like that was my dreams, like since I was 5. So although I'm a game developer and that is my main job, it's almost like, from my point of view, I'm a wrestling fan first, and that's I happen to be a game developer, but I'm a wrestling fan at my core, kind of thing. So maybe that's something that makes me different from other game developers that are working on games. I don't know.
It feels that way. Like I said, when I watched that trailer, you could tell it was being made by someone who gets it, someone who understands what is great about wrestling, what people like about it, and what they want to be able to emulate at home without jumping off of couches and stuff like that.
Well, you know what? It's nice as well to hear a reaction, because up until now, like it's only really, as I said, it's been me that's seen the trailer, and a friend, and my brother, and like I end up, because of through editing, I've watched it back so many times.
I know.
And initially, like the first 10 or 20 times I watched it, I was able to imagine watching it from the perspective of someone who hasn't seen it before. But that's now gone. Like I can't watch it and understand it anymore. It's just, I can't get any sort of reaction from it because I've just seen it to death. So there is a little bit of a nervousness when I'm putting it out. I was actually saying to my girlfriend the other day, I was like, it's funny because I'm posting all this stuff on Twitter, and I'm getting a lot of likes and a lot of retweets and a lot of reaction. In my head, they've all seen the trailer. I can't pull myself away from the fact that these people are liking my tweets, retweeting things, and they haven't even seen it yet. Like, I have to remind myself they've not even seen it. Like, because I don't know. It's that ingrained in me now that I'm just, my default setting is that everyone knows the trailer, everyone's seen it, So I'm going to be, I'm looking forward to the reaction of once it's actually,
Yeah, get ready because Yeah,
Yeah,
there's going to be a reaction. I think you're going to be very happy with it.
I
Uh,
hope so.
when I watched it the first time, so I was telling Sam before we went on that this is like the biggest secret I've ever had to keep, because he sent me the video that we started this off with, the promo, and that was like a week and a half ago, a week ago, whatever it was. And it's like, oh my God, I can't tell anyone about it. I can't show it to anybody. And it was driving me crazy because, man, when I watched that, I was just like, and I kept missing little things. Like I said, it was like the third time I watched it where I saw the little blue wrestling ring, and I'm like, oh my God, he's got the ring. It and I get it. When we do this content stuff and then post it out, you don't have that live audience reaction that pro wrestling gets. That's why when we had the whole COVID lockdown stuff and they had no audiences, it wasn't the same. It was kind of hard to watch wrestling, even when you put
Yeah.
cameras and video screens in. It's just not the same as a live audience. It needs
Yeah.
a live audience to feed off of. And you're
Yeah.
going to have that in a few hours.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Well, listen, everybody, the link is in the description box down below. Go to the Kickstarter, whatever you can donate. Let's get this thing up and running. And let's get it done fast, and having him have all the access he needs to other people with great talents who also share the same passion we all do, so that we can have a wrestling game, not only that we can be happy with, but that we can know that we played a part in and we helped him get to that finish line. So it's really, and that's what I think really does separate this game, is the fact that it's more of a community effort, in that some people are donating their abilities with the steel cage structure, for example. And I'm going to, whatever you need me to do for voiceover work.
Yeah. And
It feels like
I mean,
it's our game.
yeah, I've had a lot of people send me artwork and send me like even stuff just for tattoos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We all want the same thing, man.
Yeah, yeah. That's what it feels like. It feels like there's a bunch of people that want this. That that I've definitely sort of tapped into something. So,
You have. And like I said, in a few hours, you're going to probably have a much better understanding of just how much so. I think this thing's going to grow legs quickly. And everybody, share the heck out of these videos, okay? I'm going to do a separate post with just the trailer on it. Make sure you just share the crap out of that thing. Of course, go check him out on his Twitter page, which the link will be down below for that as well. And we're off to the races, man. I think you're going to have a heck of a run going on here.
fingers crossed.
You'll see. All right. That's going to wrap it up for this one. We will keep you posted. I have a funny feeling we're going to turn this into maybe like the control center back in the old days, with Mean Gene Okerlund would be in the control center, or then it went to Sean Moody after a while. Yeah, it'll be like that. We'll check in every few weeks and say, well, here's the latest update from Ultra Pro Wrestling.
Definitely.
And like I said, whatever you need from me, just hit me up, and I'm more than happy, because I just think this is the coolest thing.
Absolutely.
All right.
And thanks again.
My pleasure. We'll see you guys next time right here on WrestleChat on the Nation Network.